very much. Okay. All right, thanks for having me. I'm director of the State Water Plan for the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. There's a lot in that statement, a lot of things that we do at the Water Board. There was so much I couldn't figure out exactly what part to talk about. I was like to Jason, what do you want to talk about? So the Water Board was created in 1957 after some of the, the most serious droughts on record. And that started our water permitting. So essentially what we were initially developed or created for was for water rights around the state. But we also run floodplain and dam safety. We have monitoring systems of folks that do monitoring year-round for lakes and streams, and now groundwater for water quantity and quality. And from that, then we write the water quality standards for the state. Water financing is, as Charles mentioned a minute ago, we finance drinking water and wastewater projects around the state. Groundwater studies, that's how we decide how much water is available from our basin studies around the state. And the water plan, our last water plan, paid for a lot of that. And then well driller licensing, so that we make sure that the water wells that are drilled in the state are safe for all of us. In 2012 was our big one. We are mandated to do, or we have statutorily required to do a water plan every 10 years. That started in the 70s. The last one we did was in 2012, and that was the first one. After a drought, they always say never waste a good drought. That really helped us fund, through the legislature, helped us to fund a very major, significant, really the first really significant. The others, water plans, are more just kind of a desktop study thing done by a couple people in the office. This was done from a series of statewide public input. And then a lot of studies were done. We had engineering firms and so forth. And we also matched that with federal dollars. About $7.5 million was from the state over about 5 or 6 years. And another $3.5 million roughly we got from federal match. And from that, we did helped us to keep these are some of those water quality sampling that we do around the state in both streams, lakes, and groundwater. Quickly, I'll just marginal. This is kind of where we're going today, looking for, Jason's mentioned the Water for 2060 initiative, and what that is. Let's see if I've got a slide on that. Okay, well, there's the logo up in the top right corner, but Water for 2060 was something that was put together the idea was after our water plan came out, people really understood where we were as far as looking in the future, because our water plans look 50 years into the future. We project that throughout for every basin in the state. We projected that. And we wanted to look at it. It looked like we were going to go up about roughly a third, and we don't want to go up a third in our demand and our need for water. So the legislature, on their own accord, had nothing to do with us actually, other than looking at our data, but they came up with the idea of they would like to use no more water, no more fresh water in 2060, which was our 50-year horizon, than we use today, which our baseline was in 2010. So how do you do that and not hurt our economy at the same time? Because we need to continue to develop, to continue growth, those kinds of things. So the idea was, well, what if we use brackish water, marginal waters? Are there other opportunities for that? So I'll just kind of quickly, a lot of you know about a lot of this, but some of these are really happening, and we're making moves towards this, both legislatively, getting the rules and regs in place and so forth, for doing potable, direct and indirect potable reuse. We've got those rules and regs in place on indirect, and we're starting that now for direct potable reuse. We are looking today at brackish water. We're looking at oil and gas. How can we help? The produced water working group is in place now. I coordinate that, and my director is the chair of that. We work interdisciplinary with researchers, folks from OU and from around the state, and industry and regulators, trying to come up with what can we do, how can we improve what we're doing with produced water, to recycle that, to reuse it, make it affordable to do things like that. So that's kind of some of the things also crop irrigation. We've been talking about how can we help improve, perhaps through financing and through grants and so forth. We're looking at, can we possibly help to farmers to get more efficient with some of their use of water. So ASR, we just passed that. That's when, instead of storing water in lakes, I'll quickly back up a little bit. Many of you may know, but lakes are very expensive today. A lot of the low-hanging fruit has already been built. The remaining places where we might do a lake the bang for your buck isn't so great, and they're huge projects. Nowadays, it costs $200, $300, $400 million in some cases to build a lake like Thunderbird or something like that. So it's not really practical so much. We're looking at the science of can we store it in the ground? And it looks like I'm about out of time, so I'm going to call that good. So there's Produced Water Working Group. There's our brackish water study. We are looking at can we find brackish sources in the groundwater. That's our next big move. So thank you.
Thank you, Owen.